So her name has traveled further than any ship. It has crossed deserts, oceans, and kingdoms, more than 2,000 years of history. Some remember her for her beauty. Others try to define her by the powerful men who entered her story. But she was never merely a woman standing beside power. She was a ruler, a strategist, a woman who understood that intelligence, presence, and femininity could exist together without one diminishing the other. Long after her kingdom vanished, her name remained. And centuries later, a perfume would reach back through history and take that unforgettable name and place it upon a bottle. Not simply because she was famous, because she was strong, because her story still speaks, and because some women were never meant to be forgotten. Come on in, take a deep breath, leave the ordinary behind. Welcome to the place where every fragrance comes to life. Welcome back, fellow time travelers, to Misty's Musings, where every fragrance comes to life. Here, perfume is never only something beautiful inside of a bottle. It can be a memory, a doorway, a voice from another time, and sometimes it becomes a tribute to someone whose strength continues to inspire us centuries after she is gone. So, take a breath, open your imagination, and ask yourself, where will fragrance take us today? Our journey begins in the heart of Xarmony, a fragrance house where history does not remain trapped inside old books. Here, historic figures are transformed into scent. Their stories become atmosphere. Their courage becomes character. And their names are given new life upon the skin. Throughout the Xarmony collection, we meet rulers, warriors, artists, visionaries, and legends. But there's something especially meaningful about the women Trill chooses to honor. So, he has honored Artemisia, Athena, Qingxi, Cleopatra, women who came from very different places and lived through very different circumstances, yet shared an unmistakable strength. They did not quietly disappear into the backgrounds of history. They led, they created, they challenged expectations. They survived. And through Xarmony, their names are spoken again. Today, our coordinates lead us to one of the most recognizable women who ever lived. Our guide today is Cleopatra. But our journey is not simply about returning to ancient Egypt. It's about discovering why her name belongs within the world of Xarmony and what it means to a perfumer who chooses to honor powerful women through fragrance. Cleopatra was the final active ruler of Egypt's Ptolemaic kingdom. She inherited her throne, but keeping it was far from guaranteed. She lived in a world of political unrest, family conflict, and the growing dominance of Rome. To survive as a ruler, she needed more than beauty or charm. She needed intelligence, adaptability, political awareness, and the ability to understand the powerful people surrounding her. Cleopatra has often been reduced to a romantic character in someone else's story, but she was not placed upon the throne simply to decorate it. She ruled. She negotiated. She spoke with authority. She fought to preserve her kingdom during a time when Egypt's independence was increasingly threatened. She was not perfect. Strong women do not need to be perfect before we are allowed to acknowledge their strength. They can be complicated. They can make mistakes. They can be ambitious, strategic, and sometimes difficult. They can be human. Yet, for centuries, powerful women have often been remembered differently from powerful men. A commanding man may be called decisive. A commanding woman may be called ruthless. A politically intelligent man may be admired as a strategist. A politically intelligent woman may be accused of manipulation. Cleopatra's story has passed throughout the voices of people who admired her, feared her, opposed her, and sometimes tried to reduce her power to more than just a little bit of beauty. But her name survived every version, and perhaps that's because her presence was too great to erase. When I look at the Xarmony collection, I do not see names chosen merely because they sound dramatic upon a label. I see a fragrance house built around stories. And many of those stories honor people whose strength left a mark on this world. Trill's respect for strong women feels woven into the identity of his house. He was raised by a strong woman. He is raising daughters of his own. He understands that women shape families, communities, and futures, often while carrying more than the world ever sees. So when he chooses names such as Artemisia, Athena, Qingxi, and Cleopatra, those choices feel intentional. Each name becomes a form of recognition, a reminder that women have always been a part of history's greatest stories, not simply as wives, not merely as daughters, not as quiet figures watching from the edge of the room. They were leaders, warriors, thinkers, creators, protectors, and rulers. Cleopatra belongs in Xarmony because she represents a woman who refused to be insignificant. She understood her position. She knew the dangers surrounding her, and she used every tool she ever possessed: her education, her intelligence, her communication, alliances, and presence to fight for her throne and her kingdom. Her power was not based upon one quality. It came from her ability to bring many qualities together: beauty and intellect, femininity and authority, charm and strategy, softness and determination. That balance feels deeply connected to the spirit of Xarmony. Because Xarmony is not about removing chaos from life, it's about finding strength, identity, and balance within it. Before smelling a fragrance named Cleopatra, the imagination has already begun working. The name creates its own atmosphere. We picture warm golden light moving across polished stone, rich fabrics flowing through palace corridors, jewelry catching the flickering of candlelight, a room falling quiet as a woman enters, not because she demands attention, but because her presence naturally commands it. That is the challenge of creating a fragrance around a name as powerful as Cleopatra. The perfume cannot feel timid. I cannot feel empty beneath its beauty. The name asks for depth. It asks for contrast. It asks for something elegant enough to honor a queen, yet strong enough to carry the weight of the woman behind the legend. And that is where our fragrance journey begins. Now we come to the fragrance itself. Cleopatra by Xarmony. Before I ever place my nose near the bottle, the name has already created an atmosphere. It suggests confidence, elegance, mystery, authority, a presence that does not need to beg for attention because it naturally draws people closer. But what I appreciate is the fragrance is not asking me to become Cleopatra. It's inviting me to consider what Cleopatra represents: the ability to carry beauty and intelligence together, the understanding that femininity is not the opposite of power, the courage to be noticed, the confidence to enter a room without apologizing for taking up space. When I experience this fragrance, I imagine a luminous beginning, something bright and radiant like golden sunlight pouring through an open palace window. There is an immediate feeling of polish and attention. Nothing seems accidental. As the fragrance begins to open, I picture flowers blooming with purpose rather than fragility. This is not the image of delicate petals being carried helplessly by the wind. These flowers have roots. They have character. They create beauty while still holding their ground. There is also a sense of warmth woven through the fragrance, something inviting yet controlled, something that draws you closer without revealing everything at once. Cleopatra does not feel eager to explain herself. She allows each part of her personality to appear in its own time. That unfolding reminds me of the way we come to understand strong women. At first, we may notice the outer beauty. Then, we begin to see the intelligence beneath it, the courage, the humor, the scars, the lessons she had to learn, the battles she had survived. And eventually, we realize that beauty was only the doorway. An entire story was waiting behind it. As Cleopatra settles, I imagine the fragrance becoming warmer, smoother, and more grounded. The radiance remains, but now it has depth beneath it. It feels regal without becoming cold, sensual without becoming powerless, and elegant without ever feeling fragile. There is sweetness, but it never becomes naive. There is mystery, but it does not feel hidden or afraid. Everything seems to work together to create a fragrance that is self-possessed, a fragrance with its head held high, a fragrance that understands its identity and does not ask anyone to prove it. That is how Cleopatra by Xarmony feels to me. It carries the glamour we associate with the queen, but beneath the glamour is something stronger. There's purpose, identity, and presence. It seems just to whisper. Do not mistake softness for weakness. Do not mistake elegance for surrender, and never assume that a woman must choose between being beautiful and being powerful. This is where Cleopatra becomes more than a name written across the bottle. She becomes part of a larger message within Xarmony. Honoring a powerful woman from history is meaningful, but the fragrance also invites us to recognize strong women living around us now. Because strength does not always wear a crown. It does not always lead an army or rule a kingdom. Sometimes strength wakes up early and takes care of a family. Sometimes it goes to work while carrying private pain. And sometimes it starts over after losing everything. Sometimes it speaks up for someone who cannot speak for themselves. And sometimes it keeps loving after heartbreak. And sometimes it even walks into a room terrified and does what it needs to be done anyway. Some of the strongest women we will ever know may never appear in a history book. There may never be a statue built in their honor. No one may ever create a perfume bearing their name. Yet their influence lives inside the people they encouraged, protected, raised, and inspired. Cleopatra by Xarmony may honor one legendary woman, but it also makes me think about all the women whose strength deserves to be seen. When I think about the women represented within Xarmony, I find myself asking a deeper question. What does it really mean to support strong women? Is it easy to celebrate women from history? Their lives are finished. Their choices cannot challenge us personally. They cannot disagree with us, compete with us, or make us uncomfortable. Supporting strong women who are alive today requires more from us. It means listening when another woman speaks. It means celebrating her success without treating it as a threat. It means refusing to join conversations designed to tear her apart. It means allowing her to be complicated. It means recognizing that confidence is not the same as arrogance. Boundaries are not cruelty. Ambition is not selfishness. And strength does not make a woman less deserving of tenderness. Supporting strong women also means refusing to believe that there is room for only one. One woman's beauty does not take away from another woman's beauty. One woman's success does not diminish another woman's potential. Another woman standing in her power does not require us to surrender our own. There is room for many voices, many stories, and many forms of strength. And perhaps that is one of the greatest lessons hidden inside Cleopatra by Xarmony. A strong woman does not always need us to rescue her. Sometimes she needs us to recognize her, to respect her, to stand beside her, and to stop asking her to become smaller so other people can feel more comfortable. Every time traveler journey leaves us with something worth carrying home. So before we leave, it is time to place an object in today's time capsule. For Cleopatra, I would place a mirror inside. Not a mirror only meant to measure physical beauty, a mirror that reveals more than the surface, a mirror that reflects every battle a woman has survived, every lesson she has learned, every person she's protected, every moment she stood back up when staying down would have been easier. I would want that mirror to carry a message for whoever finds it. You do not need to wear a crown to possess strength. You do not need to rule a kingdom to leave a legacy. You do not need to become someone else before you are worthy of recognition. Sometimes the powerful woman you have been searching for has been staring back at you all along. So today's treasure is empowerment. Empowerment is not believing that we are better than anyone else. It is refusing to believe that we are less. It is recognizing our own voice and helping others discover theirs. It is supporting women not only when they are struggling, but also when they're thriving. It is making room at the table. It is sharing knowledge. It is celebrating courage. And it's understanding that strength can appear in countless forms. It can be bold, creative, nurturing, intellectual, emotional, graceful, fierce. There is no single correct way to be a strong woman. Cleopatra by Xarmony honors a woman whose name survived centuries, but its message belongs to every woman who has ever been underestimated and chose to keep going. Now I want to hear from you. Who is a strong woman who has influenced your life? She may be a famous woman from history. She may be your mother, your grandmother, your daughter, your sister, a friend, a teacher, or a mentor. She may be someone who helped you through a difficult chapter in life. Or perhaps she is the woman you are still learning to recognize within yourself. Place her name in the comments and tell us what makes her strong. Let us create a space filled with the names of women whose stories deserve to be honored. And think about the fragrance you're wearing today. What would you place inside our time capsule to represent its story? Today, Cleopatra by Xarmony carried us into a story of a legendary queen, but it also carried us into the heart of a fragrance house that believes powerful women deserve to be remembered. Through Cleopatra, Artemisia, Athena, Jingxi, and other remarkable women represented within Xarmony, Trill reminds us that women have always shaped history. They've led, they've created, they've protected, they've fought, they endured, and changed the world. The greatest way we can honor the powerful women who came before us is not merely by remembering their names, it is by recognizing the women standing beside us now, supporting their dreams, respecting their voices, and celebrating their victories, and reminding them of their strength when life causes them to forget it. So, our coordinates are beginning to fade, the palace walls are disappearing, and the golden light grows dim. But Cleopatra's name remains, as it has remained for more than 2,000 years, a reminder that true power is not always measured by how long a kingdom survives. Sometimes it's measured by how long a woman's story continues to inspire others. So, until our next journey, honor the women who came before you, stand beside the women that are walking along beside you, and never be afraid to recognize the power within you. This is Misty's Musings, where every fragrance comes to life. Thank you for spending a little time with me today. If you enjoyed today's fragrance adventure, I'd love to have you back. Subscribe, ring the bell, and become part of our fragrance family. Until next time, may your days be filled with beautiful fragrances, and remember, you're always welcome here, where every fragrance comes to life.